Tammy Reid in with your VON Major News package for today, Friday, 7th June 2019. In our lead stories, nationally, Nevis's Integrity Commission office officially opens and proposed ban on single-use plastics. Regionally, Barbados confirms its selling majority shareholding in Liat. Internationally, Rihanna is world's richest female musician with an estimated fortune of US $600 million. And in sports, Golden State Warriors part owner banned for pushing Toronto's Kyle Lowry. We'll have the details to these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back, and now the national news in detail. The Integrity Commission here on Nevis officially opened its doors to the public on Monday, June 3rd. The Commission's office is located upstairs the Rams Shopping Complex at Stony Grove. The Integrity in Public Life IPL Ordinance Number 2 of 2013 is an ordinance establishing the Integrity Commission in order to ensure integrity in public life, to make provisions for a code of conduct, to obtain declarations of the assets, liabilities, income, and interest in relation to property of persons in public life for the offenses and abuse of office, and to provide for related or incidental matters. Here is Chairman of the Commission and Attorney-at-Law, Mr. Ricardo V. Keynes.
Since our appointment last year, June, myself and the other two commissioners, we have been meeting and basically been working towards putting the nuts and bolts together to have the commission office open and actually have the commission functioning. So even though persons have not heard much from us, we have been working behind the scenes to hire staff, and get the necessary nuts and bolts put in place. And so we are now in a position to move forward and to start complying with the provisions of the Integrity Ordinance Number 2 of 2013 for the island of Nevis.
He further explained what the IPL legislation entails.
The legislation sets out the category of persons who are governed by the ordinance. And by virtue of that, those persons are the persons who will be under the scrutiny of the Commission, and they will comply with the necessary filing of documentation that is required by the Commission, and also the general ordinance in terms of what the law states that has to be done.
Mr. Keynes added that the Commission is an independent body.
The Commission is established by the Nevis Island Assembly, and the function of the Commission is that it is governed by its own authority, in that we exercise our authority by ourselves. So we are not governed by any third party or any third person or any institution. And for example, Section 14 of the ordinance states, the Commission shall, in the exercise of its function under this ordinance, not be subject to the control or direction of any person or authority.
Chairman of the Commission and Attorney-at-Law, Mr. Ricardo V. Keynes. The other commissioners are Mr. G. Sidney Newton and Mr. Alfred Tyrrell. In other national news,
propose to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis to put in a ban on single-use plastics.
That was Director of the Department of Environment, Ms. June Hughes, on the government program Working for You, aired on June 5, 2019, World Environment Day. Disclosed during the program, the ban would eliminate the use of single-use plastics such as styrofoam. Styrofoam, also known as polystyrene, is a versatile plastic used to make a wide variety of consumer products. As a hard, solid plastic, it is often used in products such as food packaging and laboratory wear. When combined with various colorants, additives, and other plastics, polystyrene is used to make appliances, electronics, automobile parts, toys, gardening pots, and equipment, and more. Ms. Hughes also disclosed alternatives for single-use plastic.
The ones we would like people to embrace are the ones that are made from sugarcane byproduct and vegetative matter. Biodegradable plastic, you have to find out what it's made from. If it's not made from a vegetative base or a natural product base, or how long it takes to degrade, that might not be the wisest choice.
To address the problem of alternative biodegradable products being an expensive option, Ms. Hughes also disclosed a proposal to be sent to Cabinet to address that issue.
I'm hoping that in the proposal that we would send to Cabinet would lean towards looking at duty-free concession on the alternatives. It may be in phased approach, as in we start with 0 and we phase in until it reaches what percentage is supposed to be.
Director of the Department of Environment, Ms. June Hughes. In more national news.
I want to remind our people, because I continue to talk about people being responsible. A lot of people feel they can say whatever they want on social media. They can curse whoever they want. They can be derogatory. They can be vitriolic. They can almost sometimes be dangerous. They threaten people. I am saying to people, be careful, because the United States government is now saying that you must bring that history. If that is the case, it seems to me that they're asking you now for all profiles you might have, which would include fake profiles. And they have ways and means of knowing exactly who is who.
Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. Mr. Brantley made those comments during his On the Mark program on Wednesday night, which is aired here on Vaughan Radio. The comments came on the heels of the United States' recent amendment to visa application forms, which will state social media identifiers. The new visa application forms list many social media platforms and require the applicant to produce all account usernames they may have used over the previous 5 years. Applicants are also given the opportunity to volunteer information about social media accounts on platforms not listed on the form. Only persons applying for certain diplomatic and official visa classes are spared from the new conditions, which is part of a broad expansion of President Donald Trump's administration intensified screening.
This is not something unique to applicants from St. Kitts and Nevis. This is something that the United States government is introducing for people anywhere seeking a visitor's visa, non-immigrant visa to the United States.
Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. When will the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation, NHLDC, begin the construction of houses at Hamilton Estate? That's a question the VON Newsline posed to the Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. Earlier this year, the Concerned Citizens Movement, CCM-led Nevis Island Administration, NIA, announced that in 2019, constructions of homes will begin in the Hamilton Estate here on Nevis. Because the NIA does not own any land of any significance in the St. Paul's Parish area, government took the decision to buy land in the St. Paul's Parish area to wit Hamilton Estate. This was the Honorable Premier's response.
I'm told infrastructure is being worked on. I think those in the Hamilton area would have seen a large area of land cleared. That's where the new development in Hamilton is going to go. I want to commend Minister Brand because he harassed everybody in the government about getting some land. So we have been forced to go to the market and buy some land. And I want to thank Minister Brand and the Minister of Lands, the Deputy Premier, because I think the Cabinet considered this, and after a lot of wrangling, we bought the land. So the land is there, the land is being cleared, and we would hope that the housing will follow shortly. But right now we're putting in the infrastructure.
Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. A man is in police custody in relation to a firearm that was found in the village area on June 4, 2019. Officers from a joint mobile patrol team in the area observed an individual on a motorbike with what appeared to be a firearm. The individual tried to escape, was pursued by members of the security forces, and apprehended shortly after. A search of the area resulted in the discovery of a Glock pistol with 13 rounds of ammunition. The man and the firearm were taken into police custody. Members of the crime scene unit visited and processed the scene. Investigations into the matter are ongoing. Citizens and residents are reminded that we all have a role to play in keeping communities safe. Persons are asked to report all suspicious activity or information about illegal activity to the police by dialing the crime hotline at 707. CEO of the Nevis Tourism Authority, NTA, Mr. Greg Phillip, along with members of the North American PR agency, attended Caribbean Week in New York. Caribbean Week, which is organized by the Caribbean Tourism Organization, TCO, creates an awareness of the Caribbean's diverse product offerings and showcases its desirability through business development opportunities, consumer engagement, and authentic cultural experiences. Nevis is one of 24 CTO member countries who gathered for a series of meetings and events which address the common issues and marketing programs designed to attract tourists into the region. The week featured 12 speakers, 11 professional chefs, and 5 judges, and honored 8 individuals for their work in the tourism sector. The week is sponsored by 14 regional companies and organizations, including Sandals, JetBlue, City Tech Solution, Travel Plus Leisure, and 3 Caribbean islands. Caribbean Week will end on Sunday, June 9th. Finally, St. Kitts and Nevis will be hosting the 13th meeting of the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism, CRFM Ministerial Council, at the Marriott Hotel in Frigate Bay, St. Kitts from June 13th to the 14th. During this forum, the ministers will review the report of the 17th meeting of the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism, CRFM Forum, the technical body of the CRFM, which was held at the Bird Rock Beach Hotel from March 20th to 21st, 2019. These ministers will also collaborate on creating and implementing protocols and guidelines to improve the quality of the fish being harvested, to enhance the safety and livelihood of fishers and the sustainability of the fisheries industry. Moreover, it is anticipated that Minister responsible for marine resources, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, will be elected as the chairperson for the CRFM Ministerial Council meeting. The CRFM Ministerial Council is the highest decision-making body on fisheries, consisting of 17 member states. Ministers responsible for fisheries and aquaculture matters serve on this council. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
Ladies and gentlemen, this here's another one for the steppers.
Swipe to win big in 2019. That's right, the Bank of Nevis Limited is once again giving you, our valued customers, a chance to win big. Just swipe or use your Bond Visa credit card for US $100 for a chance to win a cruise for 2, an iPhone XS, or a grocery dash at Best Buy Supermarket.
Say what?
Sign up for a Bond Visa credit card and automatically be entered for a chance to win. This offer ends August 31st, 2019. So tell your friends and family, just swipe to win big with the Bank of Nevis. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram.
Welcome back, and now the regional news in detail. Out of Barbados. If negotiations with the Antigua and Barbuda government go well, Barbados will, for the first time in a while, not be the single largest shareholder of the financially troubled regional airline Liat. Prime Minister Mia Mottley has confirmed, weeks after initial disclosures to the public by her Antiguan counterpart, Gaston Brown, that Barbados will sell most of its 49.4% stake to the Twin Island nation. She did not say how many of the shares would be given up, but Brown had already indicated that Barbados had agreed to sell all but 10% of its shares. Motley said that given that Barbados' economic situation, the island is in the midst of an economic recovery and transformation program supported by the International Monetary Fund, the government could not continue supporting Liat in the way it has thus far. Barbados went from having minority shareholding in Liat of 8.19% prior to 2003 to becoming the airline's largest single shareholder. Its stake was even higher in 2013 than it is now, with the country having 51% at that point. China has been called upon to continue to assist countries with their reconstruction efforts following Hurricanes Maria and Irma, but to do so at a low cost to the islands. Hurricane Maria devastated Dominica in September 2017, leaving the island in rubbles. The People's Republic of China had assisted Dominica and other islands in several areas, but Antigua and Barbuda's Minister of Housing, Land and Urban Renewal, Maria Brown, believes more can be done. Brown was speaking at the 10th International Infrastructure Investment and Construction Forum held in Macau, People's Republic of China, over the weekend. Minister Brown pointed out that embarking on a program of sustainable development is a costly venture with numerous challenges. She outlined that it requires consistent flow of financial resources to address increased costs for the steps needed to tackle environmental concerns and to accelerate sustainability. Out of the USVI. When Hugo Hodge, then Executive Director of the Virgin Islands Waste Management Authority, WAPA, was pushing for a deal with Vitol to convert WAPA's generator to burn propane, he repeatedly said Vitol was building the infrastructure at no upfront cost for WAPA. Vitol is one of the world's largest international liquid petroleum gas LPG traders, trading and moving in excess of 5 million tons of LPG per year, covering each of the major global LPG markets. Since July 2013, WAPA signed a turnkey master agreement with Vitol Virgin Islands Corporation for infrastructure construction, supply and delivery of propane at WAPA's power plants on St. Thomas and St. Croix. While propane saves money on the fuel part of ratepayers' bill, the cost of the infrastructure is not accounted for in that part of the bill. Ultimately, ratepayers have to foot the cost. The upfront cost WAPA did not have to pay for the propane conversion doubled over the years. The original contract called for Vitol to be paid $87 million. In November 2014, the board voted to raise the contract budget for the conversion project to $150 million, and then in November 2016, the governing board of the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority authorized another $10,000 million for the project. Payments are now coming due, and it is not good for Virgin Islanders. Vitol recently sent a letter to Senate President Novel Francis saying some immediate payments were necessary. Finally, out of Guyana, opposition leader Bharat Jagdeo now supports 3 independent probes into the award of oil blocks for the Kaieteur, Kanji, and Stabroek blocks. During a press conference on Thursday, Jagdeo was asked about a contention between the Transparency Institute Guyana Initiative (TIGI) that the Production Sharing Agreement (PSA) government signed with Exxon subsidiary Esso Exploration and Production Guyana Limited (EEPGL) for the Stabroek block is illegal, flawed, and either the result of grand corruption or grand incompetence. The contentions raised by TIGI are that the PSA is in contravention with the Constitution and the Procurement Act. The institute also complained about the lack of ring fencing provisions in the contract. JAGDIO has before stressed the importance of maintaining the sanctity of contracts, but in a recent statement, TIGI stated that a document which is in breach of international practice as well as local laws would be invalid, void, and of no effect. That's it for our regional stories. Stay with us for news around the world. Welcome back, and now the international news in detail. 14 years after breaking into the music industry, smashing records and creating history along the way, Barbadian singer and entrepreneur Rihanna has become the world's wealthiest female musician, according to Forbes. The business magazine has estimated the 31-year-old work singer's worth at US $600 million, surpassing that of even Madonna at US $570 million, referred to as the Queen of Pop since the 1980s. Canada's all-time best-selling artist Celine Dion at $450 million and Beyoncé at $400 million. But Rihanna's music is not the only source of her wealth. Although she first became famous as a singer, the pop icon has evolved into a style icon and businesswoman, and her worth includes revenues from her fashion and beauty lines that have now seen her feature in Forbes' 2019 ranking of the richest self-made female entrepreneurs and executives. A Russian warship and a U.S. warship have come close to collision in the Western Pacific Ocean, with each side blaming the other for the incident. Russia's Pacific Fleet said the cruiser USS Chancellorsville crossed just 50 meters in front of the destroyer Admiral Vignoraktov at 6:35 Moscow time. It was forced to perform emergency maneuvering to avoid the U.S. ship, but U.S. forces blamed the Russians, claiming their ship was responsible. Thousands of protesters have gathered in the Liberian capital of Monrovia to protest against the government of President George Weah. The organizers accused the former footballer of concentrating on acquiring personal wealth. The BBC's Jonathan Peleli reports.
Businesses are shut down. The organizers and the ordinary protesters have a laundry list of things that they want the president to do. For example, they want him to tackle corruption. Since Mr. Weah came to power, things are worse. They also want the president to stop his lifestyle, his lavish lifestyle. They say that he's flying around in private jets. He doesn't want to prosecute corrupt officials. They want him to get his wife off the budget.
Theresa May will officially step down as the leader of the Conservative Party today, June 7th, but will remain as Prime Minister until her successor is chosen. She announced her resignation 2 weeks ago, saying it was a matter of deep regret that she had been unable to deliver Brexit. 11 Conservative MPs are vying to replace her as party leader and ultimately Prime Minister. The winner of the contest is expected to be announced in the week of July 22nd. Mrs. May remains acting party leader during the leadership election process. Finally, an influential international agency, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, says that the amount of money held in tax havens has fallen by a third over the last 10 years. The OECD says the information sharing initiatives have boosted tax collection. The BBC's economic correspondent, Andrew Walker, reports.
The OECD has been coordinating some of the efforts by governments to make wealthy individuals and corporations pay more tax by exchanging information on their bank accounts, incomes and assets. Countries considered tax havens have been pressed to cooperate. The OECD says in the last 10 years the amount held in offshore accounts has fallen by $500 billion. It also says that voluntary disclosure before the programme's full implementation resulted in more than $100 billion in additional government revenue. A tax campaigner described the results as promising, but said the OECD has a long way to go before it can claim success.
That brings us to the end of our news segments. The latest in sports is next.
See you, Joan.
Betty, how come you never tell me what's going on up at TDC?
Well, I'm glad you asked because TDC Automotive has some awesome deals. Get the car a new spare tire for just $100 plus VAT. And they have selected tires for 30% off. And for the Jeep, if you buy a selected Goodyear tire, you can get a second one for just $99.
Well, well.
And not finished yet. They're offering up to 30% off selected Valvoline oils and universal car mats and a whopping 50% off Energix batteries.
TDC Automotive not making no joke. Are you going up there now?
Welcome back, and now the sports in detail. In basketball, Golden State Warriors part owner Mark Stevens has been banned from attending NBA games for a year and fined $500,000 for pushing and swearing at Toronto Raptors point guard Kyle Lowry. The incident occurred in Game 3 of the NBA Finals in Oakland on Thursday when Lowry fell into the courtside seats diving for a loose ball. Billionaire Stevens apologized and said it was a lapse of judgment. The Raptors won the game to take a 2-1 lead in the best-of-7 series. Stevens was ejected from the game after the incident, and Lowry later said he had been sworn at multiple times. Lowry said it made it even worse when he found out Stevens' role at the Warriors. The Raptors are leading the series 2-1 and will face the Warriors this evening at 9. Meantime, in local sports, Game 2 of the ongoing Malcolm Gishard Basketball League was played at the Church Ground Hard Court on Tuesday, June 4th. CG Rebels engaged the CG Rising Stars, and at the end, the Rebels beat the Stars by 72-point margin. The final scores are as follows: CG Rebels 100 to CG Rising Stars 29. In cricket, Pakistan's match against Sri Lanka was the first at this year's World Cup to be abandoned without a bowled ball after persistent rain in Bristol. The game, scheduled to start at 10:30 BST, was called off at 3:45 p.m. Both teams took a point from the washout, only the third in World Cup history, and have 5 from their opening 3 matches. England play Bangladesh at Cardiff, and Afghanistan face unbeaten New Zealand at Tornon on Saturday. The square remained under cover until 2 p.m. at Bristol, and although the rain stopped, the umpires called the match off after 2 pitch inspections. The only other game to have been affected by rain since the tournament started on May 30th was Sri Lanka's win over Afghanistan in Cardiff, which was reduced to 41 overs per side. Finally, in football, in FIFA, the Swiss-Italian Gianni Infantino was re-elected as president of FIFA until 2023 without opposition at FIFA's annual Congress in Paris. He succeeded Sepp Blatter in 2016 and has increased the number of teams at the 2026 World Cup and proposed key changes to the Club World Cup. Ex-President Blatter was in charge for 17 years until he was banned amid a corruption scandal in 2015. Infantino's re-election was marked by a round of applause after rules were changed earlier in the day to no longer require a vote from FIFA's 211 members if only one candidate was standing. That's it for the sports segment. The general weather forecast is next. Welcome back, and now the local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. Weather tonight, partly cloudy with a 30% or low chance of showers. Weather tomorrow, partly cloudy with a 40% or moderate chance of showers. Winds east-southeast at less than 10 knots or less than 19 kilometers per hour. Seas 1.2 to 1.5 meters or 4 to 5 feet. and sunrise tomorrow is at 5:36 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Friday, 7th June 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, Nevis's Integrity Commission office officially opens, and proposed ban on single-use plastics. Regionally, Barbados confirms its selling majority shareholding in Liat. Internationally, Rihanna is world's richest female musician with an estimated fortune of US $600 million. And in sports, Golden State Warriors part owner banned for pushing Toronto's Kyle Lowry. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tammy Reed, wishing you a safe and enjoyable weekend.